Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to go ahead and do our second installment in Workshop Wednesdays. Today's Monday. I'm releasing it on Monday because I got caught up with the whole weekend and the holiday stuff. So really, that's why I wasn't able to make it on Workshop Wednesday. But I don't want to change the name. I think it's catchy. We're going to stay with Workshop Wednesday. And today we're going to go over Unison Bends. And what are Unison Bends? Unison Bends is essentially where we pick up one note. That's a D. And we're going to bend it up to the E. And then what we're doing here is we're trying to catch this E that's down here and match it with the bend. That's why it's called a unison bend, right? Now, what we're doing there is we're creating a matching tone, because if I actually was able to pick up this little scope that I got here on the screen. So that's what an E note looks like instead of sounds like. That's what it looks like. That's a D. If you can notice, you see how the waveform is pretty smooth, right? It's pretty smooth. Now, when I put the D on top of the E, see how scattered it looks? Well, what I'm going to end up doing here is pulling this D up to this E note, right? So then, but at the same time, I'm also going to get this E note and match them together. So what I'm trying to do is find that balance point where those two notes are in tune with each other and they're in unison. That's where it gets the word unison bend. But the real tricky part about this particular technique is when you release it. When you start releasing it slowly and creating that tension between, there's a dissonance that's created there because the notes are no longer matching. Here it is. See what happens when you could even see it, right? You could even hear it too. That dissonance, that's really what sounds good about unison bends. So they're really a nice way to resolve. Adam Jones uses it, let's say in H, in the outro, the landing resolution note of the H solo, the part that goes, right, he goes through that whole part, and then he goes, then he's gonna land on this D unison bend. Right? What he's doing there, he's landing on a D note. That's a D. That's the C, but he's pulling it up to the D. Then he's slowly releasing it and he's creating that little dissonance. So that's really where the unison bend comes in handy, man. It's a nice place to land. It's a nice resolution, but it also creates tension. When you have that, let's talk about the opening of Sober. When you hear that, the part where it's matching sounds good, but when you start hearing this, that dissonance, that's what really tunes you in and goes, oh, here comes Sober, right? Right? So now most unison bends, most people that play unison bends are doing it on the G string. The reason being is because the relationship between the G and the B string says that if you want to match a note on the next string, you don't have to go the typical 5 frets like you do here, right? Instead, here what you end up doing is, if I want to pick up the E, I'm only having to go 4 frets, right? If I wanted to do this down here, see, it doesn't match, I gotta go 1 more fret. But since I have the relationship here between the G and the B string, that gives me room to be able to bend. I'm only doing 1 whole step bend. Right? So that's why most unison bends are done on the G string. Right? He also uses it coming out in the outro solo of Pneuma, right? He goes, right? That's a nice way to, but here you can see where he actually has to, instead of being in the position here where we're basically 1 whole step up and we're just pulling up here what he has to do is actually be 1.5 steps up because of the 5 fret difference, right? So when you see unison bends being done on the bottom 2 strings, notice the difference here in my finger positioning. See how here I'm going basically 1, 2, 3 frets up before I pull the whole step bend. I'm matching this D to this E. But when I'm here, the G to B, notice that I only have to go one whole step up. So that's Unison Bends, man. I'm going to make these lessons real short and sweet. I don't want to get super involved about this solo and that solo, note for note. You know me, I'm also not a tab guy, so we're not going to get into the tabs with the fives and the sevens because that's not really what this is about. This is just about learning little skills, and hopefully we compound these skills and we get to use them in these songs. Next thing you know, when you come up to playing a song, you're going to learn a song. Let's say you were playing H and you know, see in the lesson that, oh, we're going to land on a unison bend. Well, now you're going to know exactly what it is. Not only what it is, but also how to do it, and what is the target you're shooting for, and also the, oh, by the way, this also happens too. Sometimes when you're doing unison bends, because it's such a high push, my nails and sometimes your fingertips might get caught up on the top string. You got to find your own soft spot about where that's actually makes sense for you. When I start doing that, what I end up doing is I roll my fingers more flat against the fretboard, so that way my nails don't catch the string. See? So I do this so that way I'm not affecting the string above it. Those are little things that you only learn with practice, right? So yeah, man. So that's it. That's today's workshop Wednesday. Unison Bends. I hope you learned something here. Meet me again next Wednesday. We're gonna go over a next skill. I don't even know what that next skill is gonna be. It might be hammer-ons and pull-offs, right? Because that obviously is an essential part of Adam Jones playing, and especially in Tool songs. Remember to practice, man. Do workshops, sit down, give yourself 5 or 10 minutes to go over each individual skill and just drill and drill and drill. Most importantly, man, don't get caught up in trying to sound perfect. Don't beat yourself up because you're not progressing the way you think that you should. Don't compare yourself to other guitarists. Man, you go on YouTube right now, you'll see a freaking 6-year-old picking up a guitar and just wailing on it and be like, oh man, I'm never going to be that good. It doesn't matter, man. All we're doing here is playing, having fun, learning about the instrument, and just bettering ourselves day to day, man. Just don't stop. Keep coming back. It gets better. All right? Thanks for watching, man. Keep coming back.